Hello, this is Gerald Jovamas. One of the things of the theory that I have explained in my uh, videos might be confusing to some people, so I will have some extra explanation. Why is it so that the way how the workout of certain letters, how they combine and how they are expressed with geometrical forms and geometrical directions and points of where they belong, where they should be associated, can be so different? Why isn't there a consistency there? Why are there so many differences? And what option do I need to choose then if there are so many options? In this video, I hope to explain that the positions are relative positions that are open to suggestions even as positions themselves because they are related with the timings and the placements and the context. That's a concept which is there all the time. That's what it's the same concept that there is not just a yes and no and that is fixed. No, we have the 1, 2, 3 rule, which means we need to adapt to deal also with its context, with its directions, with its points of origin. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate with the three basic points of origin, the A, the T, and the K, the basics of the system, where it all starts. Before extra complexity comes to it, I should explain these 3 points very well first into 2 different contexts. And I will also explain why they are different contexts and how they behave differently and why they behave differently and what you need to pick and what you need to choose and why. I have my scheme that I usually use with a distinction of, in the basics, the space in that first round circle, the timing, where you move your focus from left to right, so where you have then timing, where you see the changes in 2 options, or the 1, 2, 3 option, where you don't see the changes very well, but you can find out where is the contemporary moment actually where I can see things that are definable at that point. That's a relative placement in timing basically, which is the foundation there. Or I can also use a direct placement in a place, at a certain spot, and there it will behave again differently. It sounds difficult, but it is actually not, and the things are relative to each other, and they mean the same things. In the first option, I just compare it to what I need to change, where I need to adapt, and so on. So that's the adapting phase, actually, like the second option. It's where I want to see what do I have. So the conclusion should be, what do I have right now at this moment within all the changes, according to me, according to you, according to us. The second option is, what is the thing? So what is it there really in that fixed point? So it's not in 2 points that I'm going to focus, but in 1 point. And the things look different in that 1 focus or in that 2 focus environment, because they adapt differently, we think about them differently or associate them differently, but basically they are the same. It's like you see the same things in 1 dimension, in 2 dimensions, in 3 dimensions. Basically they're all the same thing, but they look different. And I will show you even if it's just about points, A, T, and K, points at a certain point, they look different, they behave different, they associate different, they combine differently in that different context. So if you follow the scheme that I used in the last couple of months, let's say, and I choose actually the point where it all starts in our communicative field, it's underneath there, where in the beginning of the circle, it shows a place where I start near to me and I start there. So that's the point where I use my reference in the scheme to build up our relationships. And the relationships are related with focuses. 1 focus in space 2 focuses in timing, 3 focuses in the relative state. What it also represents is actually my focus itself has a meaning. It means is I really use this one focus, then it all is building up around that one focus. So the A also is in the middle at the same time. I meet the point from my viewpoint, I meet it in the beginning of a form. So when it's almost like you touch the form, but the form itself still lies centered around my centering vision. So that's already 2 different visions of the same thing. Both is A. And it tries to have the object in full space, as full as possible. At the same time, it is also, for me, it's that foundation underneath, from the frequencies onwards, from what I'm trying to communicate with. Underneath it has a gravity, it has a bottom, it has a foundation. The foundation is on the horizontal plane underneath. When I see what I can do with it in my communication field, I use the horizontal plane on the ground to move up and move my focus forward from me to you, from my starting point to your starting point, from my fixed idea to what I need to change, as steady as possible. The O, as it has been pronounced, is a combination of O and A. It's actually, I could move up my focus, and I use the same thing. I use it in the middle, but I use it also in the environment. O is related with that environment. Still the same centering position. And there is my orientation, and I have that orientation towards always a kind of focal starting point and a basics. How is this seen in one center, in just one center, without timing anything in that? No, just the thing itself. When I focus upon the thing itself, and when I need the thing itself, when I will use it because it's the most practical thing to do, which actually is a very good idea when I'm focusing upon A, T, and K, because they are the basics, and they are about forms. They are about what I can see in my physical realm of space. I just use one focus, and here in this square I will focus upon a form, and I will present it what the form itself will be. It's a different focus, and in the timing, now I'm not going to focus on timing, I'm focusing upon the form. So one person alone, me, sees a thing. That will look different. I have my focuses, and I try to figure out where the thing is. And there I will place, of course, my A. The A will have one centered focus. I can also use it somewhere, just in the same way as in the timing. I can point it somewhere in space and have a relative state of a starting point. Nevertheless, what I will do when I focus upon space is I move my whole set of coordinations towards the point of focus, so that I don't need the whole thing in timing, so I immediately have the full focus towards the object. So the relative state becomes a real state, a formal state. So that will be my reality. So the A will then immediately lie in the middle. Here it is. It is here in the middle. So I will keep that in the middle. The relative state, which is more relative to timings and so on, and to differences between you and me. But in a fixed state, the A is just in the middle. The rest is not important. You see how already is a difference in when you deal with 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 dimensions. It's already different. A is now always in the middle. And what we'll do, I will build up from the middle, and I will try to see the object in its fullness as much as possible. There's my A in the middle. And when I will enhance it, I will see what I can do with it, how I can connect to it, I will use the horizontal plane from the middle onwards. As a learning process, it's much more focused learning with timing, so then that relative state of a starting point will matter much more. So that's why we have a relative state where I start from, and I will look for a certainty. So the A is trying to find out what is reality, and I have a tryout. So I stop my starting and I have a tryout, and I continue my path. In the one focus, which is my focus alone, is just I don't realize that the letter A is about trying to find out something. No, it's just trying to focus as good as possible. It's focus itself, it connects itself to its whole physicality, its most full materialized form. In the timing aspect, it is always a combination, especially with all then, with a combination of, I pick out a choice and you have a suggestion that maybe some things are different, so let's find out. So there's a tryout and there's a trying to find out. Different from the physicality is just name the thing, and whatever that will be used for later in timing doesn't matter, it's the thing. The letter K, I also have a position in the timed aspect. The timed aspect is then, it's further on. I don't know what it is. It's reaching the other one's opinion, which I don't know. It's at the opposite position. That's where I try to find out. That's my suggestive starting point or ending point, where I will go to, and I try to find out. There is uncertainty against the A. It's uncertainty in which direction it will go and what the angle is. It's very uncertain. I don't know. The K in the physicality has much more clarity, because it says it's just in the diagonal sense. It immediately goes to the diagonal sense, and it says I orientate to something somewhere else. The A, T, and K in the timing aspect has the three positions. The A, where I start from, actually the past, what I know, what I realize, where I come from. T, the reality now, and that's the now state, the certainty. Until the K is the uncertainty of the future, so I don't know that one yet. So the T is my orientation in the middle, where I see, yes, I have the reality. It's the now moment where I can define the things. Together, I will find out, of course, what I can do with it. Different in the physical realm, T is in the timing aspect, it can have the whole thing in the now aspect, in the at the placement, so as a foundation, but also further upward in the timing, where I can use the physical things in a timed aspect. The T without timing, so in a physical realm, is just only this upward focus. Actually nothing more than that, of the upward focus. And this focus then, if you see where it is, it has a tendency not just to have the vertical, but also have about 2/3 up, because then it can show its difference between A, T, and K. It's a bit more up, so that you can notice what's out of the center, but not completely out of the box. So I will focus it here. I have the relative differences, the contemporary states of focuses in A, T, and K in the physical realm. A is centered because it is about, yeah, I will pick out a thing. It's in the center. T is, let's see where the thing is, what what it has, what kind of elements it contains, or how it looks like, and so on in the T. And K is, yeah, let's see at the limits of what I can see, of what it is, or where it is different. That's where it is really different from even what I expect it to be, and that's the K. In the relative state with timing, you have the three options. You have the past, the now, the future. While A, T, and K in a physical realm where you don't have the timing, it's more like, yeah, it's a thing. It's always the thing. So whatever timing I will use in the past or future, it's just the thing. So the now aspect is actually the same thing everywhere. The A, the T, and the K, yeah, they are everywhere within now. I can focus it up every time when I have an A, then I go to the T, then I go to the K. The relative state of everything is actually, I will start from my middle focus on the thing itself, where I try to focus on the thing. Then I notice what it is, what the aspects are. So I move up my now focus towards the T, and that's the relative state, but because there I will see what the form is, what the relative state is between all the things, and the K will then go away. So the T is the most real thing as well. Not just the now, is also in the now, it's also the most real thing as well, because you're sure it's there, it's a thing, and it's in between you and me, in between my opinion, your opinion. It's a confrontive thing in the timing. It's not confrontive in the placement, it's confrontive only because you notice something that has a relative state. It's the real thing, while the A is where I start to focus upon it, the T is what I notice there, and the K is its limits, how far I go. And that's comparable to what you see in the timing. You start from A, you have the now position, the confrontation of what you see, what we have, what I notice. And what I don't need now for A, T, and K, but it's from the last option, it is actually the relative state, which is the same for us. Of course, the now is also the same for both of us, but the relative state in general, the top layer, the third option, is what is the relative state in timing and in placement, which is the same for us. There is the thing, what it really is at every time and so on. There it is defined. With A, T, and K alone, okay, it's only down there, so but that's another option. But just remember that idea, that it's not just a placement, it's not just about timing, it's also that relative state of placement and timing where they meet together, where you can see, okay, here it's the same for both of us. You see it from there, I see it from there, and for me it's there, for you it's there, and we still see the same thing, and we see it from two different angles, and that's the relative state. We don't need these things now. A, T, and K can be defined differently as well. It's also about that focus, is how much do I focus in A, T, and K. In A, where I first try to center it, that I notice an object, and I have the obvious state, actually, the obvious state. Like you have an object, and this is the obvious, it's the general thing, actually, without much differentiation. When you start to differentiate, you leave the middle and you start to notice what is different. The T and the D is also quite related. The D is go towards the differences, but the T is like you deal with these differences, and you notice that it's not just a circle, maybe it's a bit off there and there. Immediately in the things that are off in the volume of the thing that you see, defines functions, defines the object as it is. It defines all these things that are related with T. When you focus is unfocusing, let's say, you see and you go to the edges and you say, okay, here it's not just different. Here I'm not sure is it still part of the object or not. Can I still use it? Can I still pick it up? You add the borders there. The limits are related with the letter K. That's the first focus and unfocus. The three kinds of focus as starting points that you can have. The three focuses: middle, volume, and edges. A bit like this here. Yeah, focus is your centralizing in A. You see the features and the functions in T, and you unfocus and you then notice the edges as well. That's K. The timing, it was slightly different. A is then just, okay, that's my starting point. T is like, okay, let's see what we have. And K is, okay, this part I'm not sure what it is yet. It's at the edges of what I can see. Let's see how I can reach it. Same thing actually, the same principles. Compared to the timings and then the settings in the placement in one focus, the timings in two focuses, what does that mean? Also with the third option as well, it always focuses upon where the thing is, when the thing appears. As a focus, it makes its foundations as relatively fixed starting points which move to the changed position. The focus in space is just, what is it? The relative starting points as well, the A, T and K, are just seeing what it is. Not much more, not where it is and not when it is, it doesn't matter. That matters in the timing aspect. So you already see that there are a couple of different focuses, even and different ways how it expresses themselves. The three kinds of focus in a timing context or in a placement context look slightly different. Let's have an example, have these T, A and K in the order of trying to find the focuses of our starting point, so what I can do with it and what it means to me towards you is the timing aspect. The what will be expressed in the focus upon one focus, where I will have the form actually that will be expressed. The form will not shows itself so well in that starting focus from me towards you. It only tells me more about what is my opinion, what is your opinion, or what shall we do about it, how shall we relate it. So that's why I now and then said, okay, it's not the best option to show you how an object looks like, because it's not more focusing upon what is our focus doing at that point. As a focus, A, T and K, what do you see? They're all three at the basic, so they are the three starting points. So in the word tack, it also just has that foundation. Yes, I have starting points. I have really it's all about starting points. I'm using starting point. A centered state actually is there as well. This centered state will be focus if I have A, T first. So I start from below there. I'm already starting centered and going towards the center in the vertical. Then the A will follow up, which I can't do right now. I have to have this relative state, and I say, okay, what? Because I am already centered. Also, the A is centered, so the all is vertically centered. It's growing as well because the first one is foundation. The second letter T is growing. The letter K is the third option. It is going to its limit, so hence the red color. With black, I will say it's the starting point of the full system. I have some rules that I apply that makes it more practical to see what's happening. But the T is the growing up. A is the horizontal plane where I have my foundation, so it's growing up from its foundation. and then it deviates, but it deviates from my center point of vision. So I have this relative direction from my center point of view towards towards someone else, towards a difference. What is it then in the physical sense, in the form? I start with T, so that means I have that position there, a position of the center. This time it's going off the center, not going towards the middle of the center. It's going off the center into a vertical sense. Then I have the A, so from that vertical position I go to a horizontal connection to the letter A, and then to a diagonal connection with the letter K. So I have this form and it leaves my focus. So it grows up, continues, and then grows away. So it's a relative starting point which fits quite well to the idea of the branch in general. Branch in any sense, how the branch starts centered, and then when it enhances, then it will go to somewhere else. The other way is cat, the opposite, which is the Dutch word for cat in English. So I have the ATK now in a different order, so I have to connect them also in a different order. I start from the K with the diagonal, then the A with the horizontal, and then with the T with the vertical. This T will try to find, where will I connect to upwardly. The Holy says, like, from me to you, I'm leaving my states of communication. It's working almost independently. It shows almost like a detached state of functionality, because T is functionality. It's more difficult to interpret it, but the functions of A, T, and K are there, and you see what you need to do, what you can do, or what you cannot do. You see that you leave your communicative field. In the what option, I have to start from K. So this is much more easy. I start to K, so at the borders with a diagonal, then with the A horizontally, and then with the T vertically. And I have also a certain form. Also there, it's immediately leaving my own spatial focus, and it also makes itself almost independently in its enhanced state as well. Cat, okay, we associate a cat actually with this independency, so that it works on its own. So we see that somewhere else. Okay, this sounds far-edged. I have a lot more and more easy explanations in my book as well. I have the word cat and tack explained several times. You can always see this from a different angle, but the basics are the same, and what it will do when you experiment a little bit, because this is quite looks a bit experimental and almost randomly, but what happens when you do that in the right order, you always come to the same kind of conclusion, same kind of options. Okay, it moves away from it becomes independent, or you have forms that will behave differently as well. And if you start to combine all the possibilities, you will get also to the form of the cat, or to the tack, which is the branch. You have these kinds of forms as well, but that is that is explained already another time. But even if you experiment a little bit, you immediately see, okay, the form goes into that direction and your attention goes into a different direction. In the timing, it says, where is your attention going compared to me and you? It's going outside the box, with cat as well, going outside the box, but it is more about physicality, which also goes outside the box. Something like that. A lot more angles that you can use, but I already haven't had an introduction how it is open to suggestion that will always fit to the essence of the letters. But according to context, according to the directions that you need to follow out, according to the points of reference, you need to know what is it really saying as positions, as directions, and so on. And within that context, is it within a time context? Is it within a space context? In general, of course, TAC is about physicality, so it should be much more easy to work that out. It's much more worked out in my book, as I said, because if you really follow all the rules with the right dimensions and the right proportions, which are the same always if you really apply them well, you also get the forms that you need, the forms that are most easily associated, most easily connected, and they have a certain behavior. They behave in a certain way in the timing, they behave in a certain way also in placement as well. But I hope this was clear enough. I might have worked out better the TAC and CAT as a formation process, but they are done anywhere, somewhere else. So look them up and you will notice how you can work that out better further from here onwards. Thanks again for watching. Bye.